episode 2 of the Next Gen Retro Men podcast. I'm Ryan.
I'm Adrian.
I'm Jason.
All right, so this episode we're going to kind of focus on the spooky stuff. Halloween, horror, scary things, you know. It's October. It's like the only month where this is acceptable.
Yeah, it's exciting. I love Halloween. It's my favorite time of the year, so I thought it'd be fun if we had a whole episode dedicated to a lot of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is like the beginning of my holiday season. My birthday's coming up soon. You got Halloween. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday of all time. So like right here, this is like the core part of the year.
Awesome. So before we get going on any of that, I want to touch on stuff that bugged me from last episode. During our discussion about our childhood video game moments and everything, Adrian said Lolo, pushed a block, and then I corrected him and said Lololo. Adrian was right. Lololo is a boss character from Kirby, and Lolo has his own games called Adventures of Lolo. Apparently they're the same person. They just get called different things in different games. Both of them, yeah. Both of them were developed by HAL Laboratories, though. So.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Diglett. That one. Do y'all both get a point for that since it's a tie, pretty much?
Yeah. Yeah. It was a weird one. Diglett was number 50 in the original Pokedex. Not, I think I said 84 or something random.
Yeah.
So Zelda stuff from our Link's Awakening discussion, and I took this straight off of Wikipedia. The development began as an effort to port the Super Nintendo Entertainment System game The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past to the Game Boy. Developed after hours by Nintendo staff, it grew into an original project under the direction of, I'm going to butcher this, Takashi Tezuka, with a story and script created by Yoshiaki Koizumi. Yes, Koizumi. And Kensuke Tanabe. The majority of the Link to the Past team reassembled for Link's Awakening, and Tezuka wanted the game world to feel like the television series Twin Peaks. I second-guessed myself. I was right.
It's a good show.
Yeah. Color Dungeon. Jason was right. And Camera Shop were the main differences between the original release and the DX version. Rock's Feather, when I said was like my favorite item in the whole game, is also in the Oracle games and Four Sword Adventures. It is upgraded into Rock's Cape in Oracle of Seasons, and it's replaced with Rock's Cape in Minish Cap. So you get a jumping thing, but it's Rock's Cape, not Rock's Feather. So it was kind of there.
Oh, yeah.
Jared Leto's character was named Angel Face in Fight Club, not Angel Boy. I was wrong on that.
And he was also beat down. Yeah, he was also beat by Ed Norton on not Brad Pitt.
I mean, you know. Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically,
I watched it the other day. So
well, again, technically,
like,
you know.
Look, okay, spoiler for a 15-year-old movie, or even longer, probably.
So, also, Breaking Bad's first season had 7 episodes. 2 through 4 had 13. Season 5 had 16, and it was broken up into 2 parts, I believe.
Yes.
Also,
which you still haven't seen.
Which I still haven't watched. Sorry, I've been busy. The other thing I wanted to mention, I think I made like a quote from Event Horizon where I said it came back. They don't ever say that in the movie. I don't know. It's been a while since I watched it. I will rewatch it before Halloween, though.
I've never seen it.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
It's creepy.
It's so good.
I know it's got the doctor from Jurassic Park in it, and is it Lawrence Fishburne in it?
Yes, Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Neill are in it.
Yeah, I think I started watching it one day, and I just never... It was on Netflix, and I think I fell asleep.
I thought it was like sci-fi, and then it goes from like sci-fi to like horror and like disturbing gore, and from what I remember, it's been like 10 years.
Yeah, so also one last correction. My son, Ben, listened to some of the last episode, not all of it because, you know, it wasn't super age appropriate.
All the swearing.
Those bad words. he wants me to let everyone know that he likes trains, and he's kind of nerdy about trains. He wanted me to tell everyone this, so.
Is he into Thomas the Train or just trains in general?
Not really Thomas. I mean,
He's a purist.
I mean, a little bit. Like, I think he just watches train videos on YouTube, and those pop up, and I don't think he likes that it's Thomas. I just think he likes that it's trains. I don't know.
I love Thomas the Train memes.
It blew his mind when he found out that there's a Zelda game called Spirit Tracks about a train. He asked me about it every once in a while, like, are we getting the Zelda train game? I'm like,
is that DS or is that?
I think that was
3DS?
DS.
I think it was DS.
It was DS. I don't think it was 3DS. So, going on in the news right now, League of Legends released a whole bunch of stuff. Riot Game finally became Riot Games and opened the floodgates and showed all kinds of cool stuff. Never really played League of Legends or been into it. I always saw like people cosplaying. I'd ask them like, "Oh, is that Rock from Soul Calibur?" And they'd be like, "No, it's so and so from League of Legends."
Fuck off,
That's
nerd.
Bootier.
I'd be like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, so I got really big into League of Legends for about 3 years because I like games that I can play that are competitive and also have a very small amount of time to play, and MOBAs fit that because you can fit in like a 30-minute match and it's still competitive. And I'm really big into fighting games too, so it was just like a more strategic fighting game for me. So I got really big into League of Legends. So the fact that they announced a fighting game for it, I'm really excited for. And they announced a really good-looking TV show that if you haven't played League of Legends or anything, I don't think it has that much to do with the core characters. It's just kind of its own standalone thing with cameos from League of Legends. So check out the trailer for those. Those are pretty cool.
What channel would that be on?
Probably internet. They didn't announce any channels or anything. I think they just showed off like a trailer for it and just said it's Riot Games.
Yep. Another thing, actually, the day that we're recording this, EA lifted a embargo and showed off a whole bunch of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order gameplay. Press got to play it for apparently about like around 3 hours. And my interest in this game went from like, I'll red box it to it's getting closer to a possible day one for me. Just you throw in, you say something's the Metroidvania, I'm instantly interested. And then kind of the Souls-like or Souls-light elements that they showed and full lightsaber customization and all that. I'm down. I'm into it now, I guess.
They got me whenever they said they were going to do planetary travel too, and
Yes.
it's kind of like free roam planetary travel. Like if you visit it's not linear, and that's what got me.
Yes.
Like I want
the
a
maps-
non-linear stuff. That sounds so fun.
The maps look like Metroid Prime when you pull open the mini map that he has, like the holographic map. It looks like Metroid Prime's map, and that's a good thing to take influence from.
And
Do you think
it's
like
Respawn.
too big though? Like kind of like a No Man's Sky kind of thing?
No, it's not like there's like a set number of planets you can go to, and then there's things on each planet that you can do, and you'll come across something that you don't have the ability for, the item, and then you leave and go do something else and come back, and then you can open up that pathway. It looks, yeah, it looks good. It's Respawn. I absolutely love Titanfall 2. It's one of my favorite games of this current console generation. So I just don't trust EA, even when it's a studio that I trust. With what happened with BioWare, the less said about that, the better. But hopefully it's good.
Maybe Anthem will be someday.
Again.
Okay. Yeah.
Again.
I'm still hurt.
I'm sorry about that, Jason.
It's okay. I loved that game for a good solid almost a full month, and then after a while I'm sitting here like, okay, there's nothing to do because they butchered the drop rates on everything. Yep, that's it. That's all I'll say about that.
And then real quick, I just wanted to mention, since we are doing spooky, Bloodborne: Return to Yharnam. It's a community-driven event that they do every October, which was the month that it originally released. And the community just goes back to that game, creates new characters, and everyone just rings their hunter bells and summoning bells and as much as they can to co-op together and just enjoy the game. And some other news came out about Bloodborne. I'm going to talk a lot more about it in a little bit, but is absolutely a masterpiece. I don't really like a lot of other Souls games, but Bloodborne just hooked me on my second attempt to play it and went all the way through to platinum. That game, it's awesome. But Miyazaki came out and basically said it's his favorite game he's ever made, and it's not up to him to make a sequel. And so Sony, like, come on, you got a new console coming out, let's do it. I know we'll probably have to wait longer because Bluepoint is heavily rumored to be making a Demon Souls remaster, and Bluepoint has already been confirmed to be doing a PS5 launch game. So we'll see. Hopefully, I get Bloodborne 2 in my hands at some day.
They could maybe do like you pre-order Bloodborne 2, you get Demon Souls remastered kind of thing. They could do something like that.
Nope, 60. They're going to charge $60 for that. Like,
Demon Souls isn't that good. I didn't like it.
I've never even played it. I didn't. My Souls career has been sparse and oddly spaced out. So, but going from there, what are you into, Adrian?
I've been going into Chrono Trigger right now. I'll admit, this is the first time actually playing it all the way through. I've started it like 20 times and stopped like after like an hour or so. But this is the first time I actually like gone through, and I'm loving it. Can't put this down. It's a great story. There's some parts in there I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
How did I miss this?
You got to get through that cathedral, and the cathedral is like the first real part of the game.
Kind of like a tutorial part. You just kind of
it teaches you some of the mechanics and some of the story beats, and it kind of shows you some of the stuff. Once you get X Strike, that was when I was like, oh, okay, this is awesome. Like, I get it now.
I think it's whenever you get to the end of time that the game goes from being good to being great.
That's where I'm at right now. I'm at the end of time.
Yeah. After you pick up Robo and you get to the end of time, that's whenever that game just gets to the point where it's so good.
What kind of blew my mind was the trial. Spoilers.
It's a how old is that game now? It's like, if you complain about spoilers on a game this old, it's like, get over it.
Right. If there's other Adrians out there, spoilers. The trial, like, I was being called out on like things that I did. I was like, oh shit, I did do that. Now I'm like, well, what if I didn't do that?
You stole that guy's lunch, didn't you?
Yeah.
Try to run off while she was trying to buy that candy.
Yeah, and like I should have like talked to her first instead of grabbing the pendant.
Yep.
Yes, little things. Man, you were found guilty as heck, weren't you?
Oh, I got off. Was it 4-2? I think. How many judges or jury?
I think
I don't remember.
I don't know. It's an odd number.
Yeah.
I've already passed that point too on my playthrough. I'll talk about it later
though. I remember I sent Jason a message asking, I wonder what Adrian did in the trial.
I found not guilty.
Yeah, Ryan messaged me like, oh man, I can't wait for Adrian to get to the trial. I'm like, Ryan, no, he's already at the end of time. That's like 2 chapters beyond the trial. Come on.
It's been a while. My playthrough is just getting going, so.
I like it because I've noticed, like, as I'm playing through, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about it because we have a lot of other stuff to talk about, but it feels like episodes almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like 30 minutes are to go back to 680, and then like 30 minutes after that you're meeting Frog, and 30 minutes after that you're finishing Cathedral. It's like it's very well paced.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it gets really good after End of Time. Well, the chunk after that is really good, and then
the game's really good.
Yeah, and then just the main section after you kind of finish the quest that it's about to put you on is the game just opens up and just keeps getting, crazier and crazier, but without losing the focus on the story and characters.
And this is only like the third RPG I've ever played. I think the first one was like Mario RPG.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Square as well, right?
Mm-hmm. That was Square Soft.
Square Soft.
Before it was Square Enix.
Before they made that garbage movie that bankrupted them.
That movie's not that bad. They just put Final Fantasy on it.
I mean,
it's not
Knights of
great.
the Old Republic was like the other,
Yeah.
I guess, RPG.
Well, this is like masterclass RPG, especially for that old JRPG style.
I like it. Also, this past week, just a bunch of family dad stuff, car problems,
Same.
figuring that out. We moved our bedrooms around because our kid, she was afraid of her room, but she likes, I don't know. But she likes our room, so like, okay, let's switch rooms, which is fine because when we first moved into the apartment, we gave her the master bedroom just so she can have more space for her toys. So now we have the master and she has her room, and so far it's doing all right.
She's gonna ask you like, have you met my friend? Anyways, what about you, Jason?
We already talked about Chrono Trigger. I won't touch that. So my dog decided to chew through the router cords at my apartment, so I went through almost the full week without internet. So I didn't get to play Destiny 2 like I really wanted to. My baby's been sick. He had a sinus infection or something going on. He's had an upper respiratory infection for about 3 weeks now that we've been fighting with. So gave that to me off and on throughout the week. I've been getting better, and then I get worse, and then I get better. So if you hear a lot of sniffling and coughing, it's me probably. So because I didn't have internet, I was able to tap into those D&D books and stuff that I bought, and I am going hard on that. It's made me really appreciate like RPGs in general, like not just tabletop, but video game RPGs. I finally get like how they come up with a lot of this stuff, because this is kind of like the beginning for a lot of that.
Yeah, it's the
Right.
it's the whole basis of it.
Yeah, it's the whole basis of it. So it's been a lot of fun really tapping into that, and it's brought me and my wife really close together too, because she's been reading she wants to be the dungeon master, and I want to just kind of play the characters. So she's been reading the books, and she was really big into fantasy stuff whenever she was a kid, and she's just loving the content, and it's really close together because an hour before we go to bed, we just sit there, I'm making characters, and she's trying to figure out how to figure it all out, because there's a lot to it.
Just trying to figure out how to kill your characters.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, that's the symbol of a loving marriage.
Yeah.
It's funny how like the internet goes out and like we're all back to the Stone Age kind of thing.
My power went out.
70s. My power went out. I got to do stuff like tabletop game from the 70s to try to make up for it. I can't play a RPG on my PlayStation, so I'll just put it on a piece of paper, I guess.
Yeah, our Switch had batteries, so luckily.
Oh, I did finish Zelda. Link's Awakening. I did finish that. Finally, beat that one tower and got to beat the Windfish. Not really beat the Windfish, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
I beat the Nightmares Within.
Mm-hmm.
So what'd you think?
And it was good. It's sad.
Yep, it's a very bittersweet.
Yeah,
kind of.
I mean, it is what it is. It's kind of like an episode of anime that's just kind of filler, but it's like good filler, because none of that really mattered in the grand scheme of thing. But yeah, anyways.
So I've been really into Destiny 2 Shadowkeep. Sorry, Jason. I've surpassed you a little bit now.
No, it's funny. Every night you'd be like, "Hey, Gambit tonight." I'm like, no internet.
So yeah, speaking of Destiny 2, I've been playing so much Gambit. That's been the thing that's hooked me recently. I never really played it until maybe a few months ago. I just never really cared about anything PvP for the most part. And then I played some. I think Jason convinced me to play some, and it's the PvE, which is that slight competitive element, is very addictive.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Destiny 2 Shadowkeep is still keeping my interest. Bob's Burgers put out some new episodes, and I love me some Bob's Burgers, so I'm watching those every after Sunday on Hulu. They're still it's still a good show.
Yeah, really great.
It's a great show.
That's been our go-to for 2 of the 3 years of our kids' Halloween costumes.
Mm-hmm.
She's got the little ears, and I dress up as Bob because it's easy.
But yeah, I just started my Chrono Trigger playthrough. I haven't really gotten too far because I was hooked on Destiny and work and car troubles, me as well. So Lily beat Untitled Goose Game. Just I don't know what happened at the end, but I just heard her cracking up, and then she walked in to my game room and was like, "I finished Untitled Goose Game." So they still kind of goof around with it and laugh and play it. That's what they were playing when the power went out. They were playing on the Switch for a while when it stormed, and I need to finish it.
Get honking.
Mm-hmm. So moving into our main topics. So as a family, how do you celebrate Halloween? What do you do? Like, because funny thing is, we're doing an episode about how we love Halloween and scary stuff and all that, and our wives, Adrian's wife and my wife, have a podcast together, and their podcast this week is going to be about how Halloween gives them anxiety. So I asked her, like, hey, what do you like about Halloween? And she told me the episode idea. So a little bit of a cross promotion here. Listen to Sense and Senselessness, starring our wives, and listen about how Halloween gives my wife and Adrian's wife anxiety.
One of many things that give them anxiety.
Yes. Growing up, like, I went trick-or-treating. I never really got into the whole kind of scary portions of it. I just loved candy and, running around with my friends and, not necessarily being bad, but just, kind of mischievous and running around. Like, it was just a lot of fun. My kids have really just gone trick-or-treating with me and my wife. We haven't like let them loose yet. I just love Halloween. My wife doesn't like anything scary, really. She's never really liked horror movies. Again, my wife doesn't like anything scary. My son doesn't either. My daughter's kind of getting into that stuff, so we went to a haunted house that some friends of ours help run, called Wakewood Manor here in San Antonio. You should definitely check it out. It's awesome. All the money goes to charity. So my daughter and I paid our admission, walked through, got scared, all that stuff. All the people working there were awesome.
Friends of ours.
Yes, they're kind of still scaring us, but like once you were out, they were kind of playfully like stalking you, and it was fun. So Lily and I go through shortly after we went through. The actors inside went on a break and kind of turned the lights on, and they let me take my son and my wife through the haunted house with the lights on, and it was cool. Like, they let us do that, so they got to experience and see the haunted house, but without it being, scary for them. And it was cool that they accommodated that. So that was something that I liked, that kind of helped get my family in the Halloween spirit, but not super macabre and crazy. So
yeah, and it's a lot of fun. Like, it's in his garage and house and yard. I actually got I think someone tried to buy him out.
Yeah, I was about to ask, how big is it? Because the only haunted house, which I'll mention later on, that I've ever been to, they have they renovated an entire mall for it. So I was just wondering how big it was.
It's not huge. It's in his garage and driveway, but it's still cool and well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should definitely, if you live in the San Antonio area, check out Wakewood Manor. It's awesome.
One of my favorite moments was actually the House of Torment in Austin, Texas. As an adult, that is not a kid-friendly haunted house at all. I would not recommend anyone under the age of 21 go because it is terrifying. Yeah, as an adult, I had many an anxiety attack in that haunted house, and I handle spooky stuff just fine, but for some reason, there's just a lot that triggered me there, and like because it actually scared me, I list that as one of my favorites because they have it separated as 3 separate large haunted houses. Each one takes about 45 minutes to an hour to get through.
Yeah,
I could not do that. I almost freaked out at Lakewood.
Yeah, so I mean, look it up because I think it was listed in like number 1 or number 2 last year for haunted houses in America.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay,
check that out.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, hey, this is really cool. I'll check it out, and it's like $40-$50 for admission. I'm like, wow, that's steep. And then I'm like, well, it's 3 hours worth of getting scared senseless, but they hire professional actors to come do the stuff. I mean, it was really cool to go through, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, I'm terrified right now because I've been sitting getting scared for 45 minutes, and when's the exit?
The pays for the ambulance team.
Next thing you know, your lips are surgically implanted on someone else's asshole, and you've become a human centipede.
Oh yeah, that was the last house. You have to actually like get on all fours and like go through as you trained through it.
You gotta sign a waiver.
The human Cinetrain.
That's not a good title.
No. And I think as a kid, my favorite thing was like growing up in Canyon Lake, Texas. It's out like pretty far, like an hour away from San Antonio area. It's near New Braunfels, if you're aware of the Texas area, but it's like a small town, a couple small towns combined, and basically you wouldn't go house to house because it's just little mobile homes and things like that. So what they did is they just had this businesses, like the small businesses out there, be the houses that you'd visit and you'd walk through, get the candies, and I think that was my favorite thing growing up. And I just love Halloween just because I guess as a kid I was very intrigued by it. Whenever we discussed like Blockbuster Video and all that stuff in the past, it's like you go through the horror movie aisle and just see all those scary photos and everything on like the VHS boxes.
Yeah.
Trolls and ghoulies.
For some
coming
reason,
out of the toilet.
Critters got me. Critters got me, and to this day, I still have recurring nightmares of them being in places like I'll be like, hey, what's that noise under there? And I'll look down, and a critter will fly at my face. I'll wake up. I'm like, it's stupid furballs.
I think they revived it as a TV series on some horror themed.
Oh no, it's a new made for TV movie.
Sweet. Anyways.
Yeah. And other than that, ever since then, I read Goosebumps. I was really big into like the scary stories to tell in the dark before they were banned from libraries from the graphic images. I mean,
really dark.
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
On Snick, yeah.
Oh no. Okay.
The scary stories to tell in the dark, the book series. Are You Afraid of the Dark was a TV show.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. No, yeah, that novel with the creepy skull on the front of the cover.
Yeah, those are so good.
Mm-hmm.
I know earlier I said that I didn't get into the spooky stuff. Like, that's not entirely accurate. My parents used to take us on haunted hayrides, and those were so cool. Looking back, you basically just got on like a tractor, the back of one, and they pulled you on a little trailer with hay bales, and they took you through the woods, and dudes just jumped out of the woods and scared the crap out of you for like a good while.
Oh god.
I remember one
worse than a haunted house.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, some of them were scarier than others. Like I think they took the last one we went to, and I think it was the reason it was the last one was a little bit more intense. I don't even remember the name of it or where it was or anything. But I distinctly remember there was a dude dressed as Leatherface chasing me and my sister, and we were like sticking our tongue out at him because he was like chasing us and we were going faster than him. And I just distinctly remember seeing him like turn on another gear and just start catching up to us. And he had a real chainsaw, but it didn't have the chain on it. And I remember I was sitting on the back of the trailer with my like kind of legs spread apart, and he took the chainsaw and like put it between my legs, and I just scared me so bad. And then like some devil dude like had a pyrotechnic thing go off in the woods like right after it, and I was just like losing my mind. for a while, and that may be why we stopped doing it. I'm sure my sister resents me for that, but if I remember right, she was a little scared too. I don't know, but it was awesome. I miss those things.
That's all illegal now.
Oh, no, it's not, because at the House of Torment, they have those fake chainsaws, and they'll follow behind you with it, and they put it by your head while you're trying to walk through it.
Well, they're not fake. It's a real chainsaw. It just doesn't have a chain on it.
I remember going through a haunted house. I don't know if you've gone to San Antonio, Ripley's Believe It or Not. It's not that scary, but I went there with my brother, who was maybe like 6 at the time. He started freaking out. So I was like, okay, we'll leave through this emergency exit. But the exit led through it wasn't like to the front. It was like through some like side hallway.
It was a fake emergency exit. It was part of the haunted house.
That's where
the hard mode
was. No, so like we're walking through like some office hallway. No one's around. The door's locked behind us. So we're like, this is actually scary. So I'm going like door to door. Everything's locked. I don't know what's going on. So we're just kind of like wandering the back halls of Ripley's Believe It or Not until we find some other door that leads to the front near the arcade. It was like, okay, well,
yeah, that's how horror movies start.
I was like, that was worth the money, I guess. I got scared.
To Ripley's too.
Okay, so moving on to our next segment, we're gonna talk about our favorite spooks, like our favorite scary games, movies, just our favorite scary things. So, Jason, if you want to start us off.
Yeah, favorite game, I would say Silent Hill 2 still holds my favorite spooky, scary game that I ever played. For some reason, the music, the environment, the everything about that game, the character design, the psychological storyline behind all of it still resonates to this day, in my opinion. I mean, if Konami would ever remake a video game, I want them to remake that one. And actually remake and not a remaster or anything like that.
You don't want Konami to do anything.
I want Konami to... I mean, they're making pachinko games and stuff like that in Japan.
Yeah, there is a new Silent Hill game. It's a slot machine. Yeah,
but I was still heartbroken. Silent Hills got canceled. I mean, it's a franchise that I like a lot. Other than that, for the most recent console generation, I really love Alien Isolation. Alien franchise in general is my favorite sci-fi/horror franchise. I talk about it all the time. I told my wife, like, the first Alien movie may be my favorite movie of all time. It kind of it fluctuates, but I always go back to the first one as my favorite movie. Everyone likes the second one because it's the actiony one, and it's got the first one is just masterclass direction, in my opinion. Other than that, movies, I'd say Halloween is a staple for this time of year. Not the Rob Zombie one, but the original Halloween is so good, and I really love Cabin in the Woods. I think that's a movie not a lot of people have seen because it kind of came out newer and it looked silly and everyone's seen that trope, but you gotta watch that movie because there's so much behind that movie, and I'm not going to spoil it because it is kind of a newer movie. It's got a big name with like Chris Hemsworth in it, but it's a really good movie, and if you haven't seen it, like, watch it. It's also got some comedy bits to it, so my wife was able to handle it because she doesn't like scary stuff that much. And other than that, like, I love Shaun of the Dead. That's another good one.
You've got red on you.
Yeah.
So, for like scary horror themed games, Bloodborne, just it's the best. It starts off one way, goes another way, keeps you guessing. Just what am I gonna see next? I don't want to spoil too much of it, but it goes from like a kind of Victorian, gothic horror to a just straight Lovecraftian mind fuck. It's so good.
Especially that DLC. That was straight that was straight Lovecraft.
Oh yeah. It's, to me, I don't even separate the game and the DLC. That's how good that DLC is. The weapons it adds, the fights that it has. Ludwig is just
Whirligig Saw.
The Whirligig Saw is just the pizza cutter's OP. I absolutely love that game. I own the soundtrack physical. That's how you can tell I really just absolutely adore a game. Is if I go out of my way to buy the soundtrack. Very few I own. That's one of them. I'm probably going to be doing a little bit of Return to Yarnum, maybe not a whole lot, just because of the amount of games and stuff I'm doing right now. First game that like ever actually really scared me though was Resident Evil, the very first one. I remember my friend rented it. We were like, cool, is a dude with the shotgun on the front, yeah. And then we started playing it and realized like this is scary. Like that first scene where you hope this isn't Chris's blood or whatever, and then you turn the hall and you see that zombie like munching on the dude, and you walk up to him, and that like it looks so hokey now, but back then it just scared the crap out of me.
Polygon nightmare.
Yeah, where he turned and like the zombie like stops eating and turns and like looks at you. Just scared me so bad. Like I remember having like that image like burned into my eye, like my brain when I would close my eyes. That and the dogs jumping through the window scared. It was just a crazy jump scare. Like and then in Resident Evil 2, the original, the liquor through the two-way mirror, it's coming. Like you could tell something's gonna happen, and they just draw it out. And I remember yelling and like throwing the controller up in the air, like me and my friend just laughing afterwards. How good it got us.
I remember in the second one, there's a moment where a bunch of crows or birds fly through a window.
Yes.
And my sister threw her parakeet into the bedroom at that exact moment. And she did not know it was going to happen, but me and my friend Jeremy were playing it, and we freaked out. We thought we were under attack and we were going to die, and that was probably one of my first scary game memories as well, besides the T-Rex and Dino Crisis.
Yeah. But I've loved most of the Resident Evil series.
Which was the one with the Mr. X?
That was 2, had Mr. X. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis had like the big dude that followed you around the whole game. Yeah, Stars.
I saw some video with like a mod where it was Pennywise, like the new It.
That's for the actual new like Resident Evil 2 like remake that they did, which is phenomenal. If you haven't played it, you need to. It's actually scary.
It's on sale right now.
Yeah, they did such a good job with that game. I absolutely loved all the time I spent playing that. Resident Evil 3 is good. Resident Evil 4 is good, and then kind of fell off a cliff for a while. So
7's good. I love 7.
Yeah, I haven't played too much of it, but 5 and 6 were not what I wanted.
7 was great. Played that in VR. Yeah.
I absolutely adore Dead Space 1 and 2. Those are just so good. The HUD, the immersion in that game, the dismemberment system, everything in those games I just loved. Was obsessed with those games for a good while until Dead Space 3 and EA just killed it. They just ruined it like EA does.
EA, what's wrong?
Bastards.
And then just Doom. Like I remember being scared by the old Doom on PC. Like it sounds silly now, like when you see it and you hear it, but just it was so intense. There wasn't a lot of stuff like that. And I also just remember getting Doom 2 and like putting like Sepultura in my computer and just flying through demons and listen to heavy metal. For movies, I'm with Jason. Alien and Aliens are just amazing. Alien is a much more direct suspense horror movie. I prefer Aliens. I've seen them both in the theater, and I just gotta go with Aliens. I love it. Like it's not just the action. It's the stakes and
Paul Reiser.
Yeah, Paul Reiser's in it, man. He's mad about you. The Thing still has some of the best special effects. John Carpenter, any of his movies, They Live, is not really a horror movie, but if you've never seen They Live, please do. It's so good, and it's like it's kind of relevant now, more so than ever. Which you wouldn't think when you know it's a movie starring Rowdy Piper. I've said it before. I'm all out of bubblegum. Event Horizon, I've kind of said a few times, man, that movie is just so good before Paul Anderson became trash. Just running the Resident Evil series into the ground and just about everything else he does. That movie is so good.
Oh god, and he's in charge of Monster Hunter.
It's just he just gets movies with his wife in it. Hell, I was really into I went through a big horror movie phase. I loved like Evil Dead, and my big one at the time was Hellraiser, the first couple. Loved the first one. Second one was kind of weird. A lot of people hate on the third one, but the third one is just stupid and cheesy and has one of my favorite like just dumb monster movie quotes where the guy kind of sees Pinhead appear in his room and he's like, Jesus Christ, and Pinhead just looks at him, just goes, not quite. It's just so dumb. Like, I just love it. It's so dumb.
I like the second one. I don't know why. I think it was the Doctor storyline. I really liked that for some reason.
Yeah.
As I said in the last episode, I was a pussy kid, so I missed like a lot of like those 80s horror slasher flicks.
Well, like as a kid, the scariest movies to me, the two that like got me were like I had nightmares and tried to sleep in bed with my parents like probably later than I should have. Not ashamed to admit, don't care. Poltergeist.
Yes.
The scene where the guy starts pulling his face off, isn't that PG? Like, isn't that movie PG? The original?
That movie, Gremlins, and Raiders of the Lost Ark are the reason the PG-13 rating exists.
Like, yeah.
On Movie Fact.
It was like a violence and sex thing that had some kind of threshold that a lot of them didn't hit to hit R.
Yeah, it was that scene, and then the movie that probably got me the longest, Fire in the Sky, is an alien abduction movie about Travis Walton. It doesn't hold up as well as a lot of other movies, but
I'll still never go back and watch it.
Yeah, just my thing that scared me with kind of horror movies wasn't like if it was a slasher or an alien or something that even if I knew I would lose, there was something tangible that I could fight. There was a way. Like the odds may have been stacked against me, but there was a way. But with like Fire in the Sky and Poltergeist, there's nothing you can do. Like it's gonna happen. Like just it was out of your hands. You just the aliens were gonna abduct you. They're gonna do their experiments. Nothing you do. The spirits were gonna haunt you and just mess everything up. Nothing you can do.
I think that's why the Grudge got me. The Grudge got me really hard because like you walk into that house, your life is cursed. You're gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah. That movie with the Japanese version really bothered me for a really long time.
Oh God. I remember my first time getting creeped out in a game was Mother Brain Super Metroid.
Mm-hmm.
I remember renting it, played through. It was like you rent it, so like a lot of people would save their games. I played through, had a great time, didn't make it to the end. Tried it a couple times, failed. So I tried another save file that was on there. They beat the game. So like, all right, I'll give it a shot. So I get through Mother Brain. It looks just like the original. Like, okay, I could do this. I've done it before. You beat it, and then she grows, and like you hear the scream.
That music.
Yeah, like, dun, dun, and then there's like the scream in the backyard or background, and then you just go through it, and then just like the little story that goes with it, with like the baby Metroid coming up and protecting you, and then all that. I mean, we can go on a whole Metroid episode.
It's the greatest game ever made, in my opinion.
Yeah, but like that first scene when she first rises and starts screaming and attacking you, that freaked the shit out of me.
Her breath coming.
Yeah. And then after you beat it, and then she comes back alive.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Super Mario 64. It's stupid. No, it's stupid. Like, Boo's haunted house or something. You're like, oh, there's a red coin behind the piano, and then it starts clanging at you. That freaked me out.
It's a good jump scare.
That's a good jump scare for kids.
Yeah, like if you've never seen that and you play it in the middle of the night, it'll freak you out. Like you're mentioning Resident Evil. The only one I've gone through all the way was Resident Evil 4. And I remember those little freezer creatures.
Mm-hmm.
That creeped me out.
Yeah, those and the bell, the creatures where you had to like ring the bell and run away from them because they were attracted to noise. Those are pretty.
Zelda, Ocarina of Time, the well, the Shadow Temple, that creature that comes out of the ground and like the hands grab you.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was gross.
They're re-deads, I think. The zombie.
The re-deads.
Skulltulas.
The whole like, going through that dungeon, like the whole like story of like what that is. It's like a torture chamber.
Rated E for everyone.
Yeah.
Hey, listen.
As far as like movies and TV, I remember it was like, I think it was like early 90s. There was some like made for TV movie. I think it was called The Intruders. It was about like alien. What?
V?
No, this is like early 90s.
Okay.
Or maybe even late 80s. It was about like alien abduction. And that was the first time, like I was a little kid. I was like maybe like, I don't know, second, third, fourth grade. I don't remember. But that was the first time I like saw like that classic like alien, big head, big eye.
Oh, the gray?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a mini series back during like the early 90s.
Yeah.
I remember.
That was the first time that like that like freaked the shit out of me. And like so like for like the next like 10, 15 years, like the grays like I was just like it was like a phobia.
Yeah.
I've never told anyone this, but my biggest fear is those gray aliens. Like
Do what?
My biggest fear is gray aliens. I've told Grace this, and she kind of laughed at me, but like my biggest fear is like I'll be sleeping at night, and then I wake up in some spaceship, and I'm like legs spread open, and I'm like, oh no.
It's been my like fear like forever. Like I've only like maybe recently like past like 5 years been like that's dumb.
Yeah.
Unless it's not. I've convinced myself that's dumb.
Yeah.
Or rather like, as a family man and a kid, like I have to not be afraid of this now.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, I'm with you though. Like that definitely freaked me out. It's still, something that bothers me. I was showing someone the trailer for Fire in the Sky, and I was like, I'm getting flashbacks. You watch this.
Yeah, that's why I said like I'll never watch that again because like that was right around the time where I was like, all right, this is like peak freaking me out.
When I was young, like my sister convinced me that her and my parents were aliens and I was a test subject, like that they weren't really my real family and they just like, abducted me and are like, I'm an experiment or something. It was, and like for like 2 weeks, I remember just being terrified of like everything. And eventually my parents were like, Ryan, what is wrong? And I told them and they were like, Jennifer, you're grounded. So
watch VHS 2. There's a short, like I don't know if y'all have seen any of those, but they're pretty much short stories.
Yeah.
And the second one has an alien abduction, gray alien storyline to it.
Oh man, it's all coming back to me. Everybody shut up now.
Like Celine Dion.
Oh, hold on. Before we move on.
Yeah.
Now, for some reason, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but Momo came out a couple of months ago.
That was like a year ago, right?
Okay, yeah. All right, everyone can laugh, but like that was
No, that's terrifying.
That was the most when I saw that.
Yeah, that image.
I was like legit afraid. Okay, I'll stay up and like watch TV or play video games and then go to bed, a couple hours after my wife and daughter do.
Yeah.
But when Momo came out, I would like, if I had to go to the bathroom or whatever at night, I would turn the lights on. Every room I went on, like the hallway and the living room, I'd put my flashlight on my phone. Like that image just like was burned in my head. Like that little creepy chicken lady's gonna like walk down the hallway and like peck at me. I don't know what's going on.
What was the
We're
story
like-
behind that again? It was like some lady
it's
was
sculpture.
telling kids to kill kid
It was
themselves.
like
or
a
something
Japanese
like that.
sculpture.
Yeah, well, it was the like meme thing behind it was like they would send you that picture and say like if you don't kill yourself or do something bad, like Momo is gonna do this or that. But in reality, it was like a sculpture of like have you seen the whole sculpture
Yeah.
where like the actual thing where like it has like the actual like chicken legs underneath it and stuff.
Oh god.
It's not as bad like once you've seen the whole thing.
Yeah,
But the
then-
first time I ever saw that was before the whole Momo craze or whatever it was. It was on Reddit. I don't know if it was RWTF or whatever. I was browsing stupidly late at night and just clicked on that one and it popped up and I was like, well, that's enough internet.
There goes my next 3 days.
It's enough
Like,
Reddit
man, up
for
again.
tonight. And then it popped back up and I had forgotten about it and I was like, yeah, it's still really creepy.
No, but that like legitimately like affected me for like a good 48 hours until I was like, all right, knock it off.
Yeah, but kudos to the sculptor, whoever
Yeah.
that is. Kudos to you. You genuinely freaked us out.
Momo Master.
All right, so we're going to finish up with just a little bit of hype mode. Jason, hype mode activate.
Of course, I've been talking about it, but I'm sure that they're tired of hearing me text about it. But D&D, I'm really into it. Trying to get some people into it too. I sent them some dice as like a
Thank you.
late birthday present for Ryan and all that. So, Death Stranding, I guess. I'm not that sold on it. I'm trying to ignore as much as I can so that if reviews come out and it's good, I look into it. And if reviews come out and it's bad, then I'm like, okay, whatever. I wasn't hyped about it. Cyberpunk, I'm really into. The Witcher TV series comes out next month. I'm really excited for that. And Star Wars video game movie, I'm really excited for. And a big family event we have every year called Thanksmas, where me and my family, we all meet up at a place and just celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas. Since families spread apart a lot, we just kind of make it a family reunion thing.
Jason, are you interested in just the Cyberpunk like video game? 'Cause
Yeah,
there
the
is a
video game. That's
Cyberpunk-
what I meant.
There's
Yeah,
a
that's what I meant.
Cyberpunk role-playing game, like tabletop D&D style, that it's based off of.
Jesus, I can't even start that. Don't even like.
So,
I'm just now
I'm just
figuring
telling you
out like what my D20 does, and yeah,
There's a
Yeah.
joke there, but I'm just gonna.
all 20 of them.
I saw that on Reddit too.
Oh God.
Yeah, if you know what I'm talking about.
Alright.
But I mean, I know I read a bunch of cyberpunk like novels, so if you want to like kind of get into that stuff, I can recommend some of them to you.
Maybe after D&D's let
Well,
go of me.
I mean, you can just go Neuromancer, or you can do Android's Dream of Electric Sheep, which is Blade Runner, but the like book title.
I've heard of Neuromancer before, so
Neuromancer's really good. It's just
I think
it's a hard read, but it's good.
Alita got me really big into Cyberpunk recently.
Okay.
That movie was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, the movie was way better than it should have been. I really liked it.
I need to see it.
Yeah,
And
we'll watch it.
We'll never get a sequel.
Uh,
Thanks, Fox.
So I'm Bob's Burgers. Like bring on more episodes, please, as many as you can. They're making a movie too at some point, so I'm looking forward to that. Maybe Outer Worlds. I want to wait for reviews on that. I just need to know how buggy it's gonna actually be, and how the shooting is gonna be. Because in those huge RPG shooters, a lot of times the shooting just is wonky and not right. So hopefully, Death Stranding. I'm excited for that. Review embargo I think lifts on November 1st, so we'll kind of see what the buzz is. Typically when Sony releases or drops a review embargo early, it's a good sign, like what they did with God of War and Spider-Man.
And Bloodborne. Sekiro.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Sekiro, I that's my next backlog game that I am gonna jump back into before the year's over. I'm gonna try. But also Valfaris is gonna come out. It's already out on PC. I'm not really PC kind of gamer though. Sorry. I'm a console plebe. I haven't decided PS4 or Switch yet, but I'm definitely gonna play Valfaris. It's just a 2D Contra Turrican like side scroller with music done by like an ex guitarist from Celtic Frost. kind of want to see Zombieland Double Tap. I really liked the first Zombieland, so I might drag Adrian to go see that. And speaking of dragging Adrian to go see something, Tool is in like a week, so I'm super hyped for that stuff.
I'm gonna go see Double Tap tomorrow, so I'll let you know.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Tool as well. More Chrono Trigger. I'm ready to finish that game and kind of see what else is going on there.
Oh, you have no idea what you're in store for.
How far am I? Like end of the world, end of time?
So you're at end of time after getting Robo, right?
Yes.
Quarter.
Quarter?
Maybe a quarter?
Yeah, I mean, it also depends on the in-game stuff you do, which I highly recommend.
Oh yeah, I
a fifth
the
to a
side
quarter
quests at the end.
you're still early.
Yeah, side quests at the end of the game are kind of necessary, in my opinion. Especially if you like the characters, it really fleshes them out.
Any recommendations of the team I should kind of focus on? No.
Play who you like the most.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, I've played it with multiple. I have a standby group that I use, but this playthrough, I'm gonna try to use people I didn't use a whole lot. The story also starts picking up pretty quick once you get to. You're kind of in like a little bit of a slow spot now, like not slow, but you're kind of focused on a small piece of the story and puzzle right now, and then it blows up, and it really shows you how big this fight you're actually getting into is.
Nice. I'm also, I mentioned last week I wanted to watch El Camino. I didn't get to watch it, so I'll watch it this week.
Oh, how was Joker?
Oh yeah, I saw Joker. I liked it. I wouldn't really consider it a comic book movie.
Yeah, it's kind of why it's weird that it's called Joker and they're marketing it as such. Like, it almost seems like you can make that movie without it being Joker.
If it wasn't Joker, it would make it. It's a Scorsese gritty look into mental illness and
Taxi Driver.
Exactly.
That's what I said last week.
That's exactly what it is. If you're going into it thinking like, oh yeah, Batman and that, you're not going to get that. But it's a good movie. Heath Ledger's still my number one.
Mark Hamill.
Oh yeah. Okay, live action. Heath Ledger's still my number one.
Cesar Romero.
Nah, I shaved that mustache.
Jared Leto.
Settle down, angel face.
I'm also looking forward to Halloween, of course. But like I said before, Thanksgiving's my golden day there. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we had a Friendsgiving last year. We should do that again.
I'll have a Friendsgiving every fucking month.
Maybe play some D&D.
Yeah.
Trying to get the wives to play.
Try to get Jason down here.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen soon. I've been working on that already.
That's a long drive. If I had some PTO, I would, but I don't have any PTO.
And then Spurs NBA's starting up, so
yeah,
go Spurs.
Your sports balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, go Spurs. Go Spurs.
Go Spurs.
So I think that's it. Thank you everyone for listening. You can find us on Podbean. This episode hopefully will be on iTunes. We're working on getting on as many platforms as we can.
Yes, follow us at at NextGen Retromen on Twitter. Shoot us an email at nextgenretromen@gmail. What else? Next.
Facebook.
What's the Facebook?
Facebook is facebook.com/nextgenretromen.
And then Instagram, it's next.gen.retro.men. On Instagram.
And if you're interested in watching me play some spooky games this month, I have a Next Gen Retro Jason at Twitch, and I'll be playing spooky games all month. So come by and watch, and let me know what you want me to play.
No, so thank you. Please listen, like, subscribe, review us, share us if you would. nextgenretromen.podbean.com, and have a great week. Thank you for listening. Bye.